Toronto, the capital of Ontario, is a major city located along Lake Ontario's northwest shore. It is known to be a unique city due to the diversity in citizens, food, festivals, and events. The diversity is spread across the city and divided by multiple districts. In today's tour, we will be exploring the Entertainment District, which happens to be the home to the most popular Toronto sports teams. The purpose of this walking tour is to educate both locals and tourists on Toronto sports teams. It provides architectural information on notable locations and historical facts regarding 5 teams which are native to the city. In addition, attention to monuments, statues, plaques, and displays are noted in order to show how significant sport is to the city. It is an interactive educational experience that is appropriate for all age groups and budgets. You have now arrived at Union Station, Toronto's largest transportation hub located on Front Street West. At the heart of the financial district, approximately 250,000 visitors pass through Union Station every day. This station unites Toronto's 6 regions by making it easy to access the heart of Toronto where many sporting events are held. Whether you are commuting to work or to watch your favorite teams dominate their opponents, you can commute to the downtown core through Union Station. Heading to our next stop, walk along Front Street East towards Bay and wait at the intersection of Yonge and Front. Once you have arrived at the intersection, look to your left. Located on Yonge Street, the longest street in Canada, is the Hockey Hall of Fame building. The sport, as we know, is part of the Canadian identity, so it is only right to have a space dedicated to the sport of hockey, holding many of the trophies earned and different accomplishments. Connected to the Hockey Hall of Fame is the Brookfield Place, a social space that gives people the opportunity to learn about the different hockey teams through a visual display of some of the most famous hockey players' jerseys. Inside the Brookfield Place is the Spirit of Hockey store that is known for selling a variety of hockey jerseys along with other hockey-related merchandise. This tour stop will be narrated by my colleague Jonia Danka.
The Hockey Hall of Fame building is significant to the sport's history in Canada. While you discover the building, we will speak of the development of this building as well as some of the most historic events that have taken place. The Hockey Hall of Fame was established in 1943 to recognize and honor the achievements of teams and individuals who have had made major contributions to the development and uniqueness of hockey everywhere in the world. This remarkable building was founded by James T. Sutherland, who was a former president of the Canadian Amateur Hockey Association. Built in 1885 stands the historic bank building at Brookfield Place, which Toronto then began a new era, a cathedral for the icons of hockey, and was opened to the public on June 18, 1993. The Hockey Hall of Fame is now a museum that holds exhibits about players, teams, National Hockey League records, memorabilia, and NHL trophies, including the Stanley Cup. The admission tickets to the event are different depending on age. They are also open 362 days of the year and only close on Induction Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. Before we continue any further, look towards your right side and you'll find a monument. Walk towards it and discover the meaning behind it. This monument is dedicated to Canada's magnificent victory in the 1972 and it is named Canada's Team of the Century. The team had won a game over the Soviet Union's national hockey team, and it is now one of the most celebrated moments in the country's sports history, thanks to Paul Henderson, who had scored the winning goal. Now walk towards the Spirit of Hockey store and enter through the Brookfield Place entrance, which is also connected to the Hockey Hall of Fame. Now, the Brookfield Place is a massive complex that consists of 2 office towers. the Bay Wellington Tower, and the TD Canada Trust Tower, as well as 12 unique older properties that had survived the Great Fire that occurred in 1904. The 12 surviving properties have been incorporated into the complex and serves a variety of different purposes. For instance, the old Bank of Montreal building now houses the Hockey Hall of Fame. Brookville Place is very well known for its architecture. You have the Allan Lambert Galleria and Atrium, which is also sometimes known as the Crystal Cathedral of Commerce, that was designed by Santiago Calatrava. Santiago was a Spanish architect that connected Bay Street with Sam Polak Square. The Sam Polak Square is located right next to Tim Hortons. The square was dedicated to Sam Polak in recognition for his many achievements and contributions towards the Canadian sport. Brookville Place is known for the social space that gives many people the opportunity to learn and discover the history about the different teams through a visual display of some of the most famous hockey player jerseys. Now please head towards the jersey display of the Toronto Maple Leafs jersey to learn some of the history about the team. The Toronto Maple Leafs are the professional ice hockey team that is based in Toronto, Ontario, and is often referred to as the Leafs. They are members of the Atlantic Division of the Eastern Conference of the National Hockey League. The team was founded in 1917 and have been evolving ever since then. They have won a total of 13 Stanley Cups and haven't won one since 1967. The team has also gone through 3 different name changes. From 1917 to 1919, they were known as the Toronto Arenas. From 1919 to 1927, they were known as Toronto St. Patrick's. And lastly, from 1927 until the present day, they are known as the Toronto Maple Leafs. Along with the name changes, they have also evolved their logo, which keeps changing and have been keeping a connection to the past Glass Leafs logo while offering a fresh take on it for the future. Additionally, the Toronto Maple Leafs have 2 different jersey colors, a white one for when they are away, and a navy blue one for home games. Lastly, the team's arena is the Scotiabank Arena, which was formerly known as the Air Canada Centre from 1999 to 2018. Now standing in front of you is Gilmour's jersey along with other celebratory monuments. Doug Gilmour was a Canadian former professional ice hockey player. He played 20 seasons in the National Hockey League for 7 different teams: St. Louis Blues, Calgary Flames, Toronto Maple Leafs, Chicago Blackhawks, New Jersey Devils, Montreal Canadiens, and Buffalo Sabres. The jersey showcased was worn by Gilmour from 1992 to 1993, a time in which he had a great impact on the Toronto Maple Leafs, helping them break the team's scoring record. Now moving on to another famously beloved Canadian token, Tim Hortons regularly pays tribute to our Canadian hockey teams by promoting them through many different ways, such as the Timbits Initiation Program, making specialized donuts, and changing the theme of their cups. Now that you are more familiar with the history of this magnificent building and the Toronto Maple Leafs team, head on over and grab yourself a cup of coffee and enjoy the 6-story high pedestrian thoroughfare that is one of Toronto's most famous public arts. While this building is home for many financial institutions and many other important Canadian companies, many people come here because they love the different retail stores that are located at the concourse and grounded levels. This building is full of art and is used for many different photos, TV, and film productions. At this point of the tour, feel free to take a couple minutes to yourself and take some photos.
We hope you enjoyed our short illustration of the Hockey Hall of Fame, a sport that is well known within the Canadian culture. Next, you will be heading west, back to the corner of Bay in Front. Once you arrive, cross Front Street and begin walking south towards the intersection of Bay and Lakeshore Boulevard. You will come across a bridge that is connected to the GO station. Once under that bridge, you will see the back of the Scotiabank Arena building, beginning to appear to your right. Stop there for a minute. At this stop, you will learn the history and use of the space prior to it being the home of the Leafs, Raptors, and most recently, the 2019 NBA National Basketball Association Championship banner. Make a right at the intersection of Bay and Lakeshore and walk along the side of the Scotiabank Arena building. As you proceed, you will explore the history and significance of this space with my colleague Kasha. We hope you enjoy.
The Scotiabank Arena, formerly known as the Air Canada Centre, is a building that boosted Toronto's economy and led to further construction in the downtown core. Before opening in 1999, the arena site was occupied by Canada Post Toronto Postal Delivery Building. However, in the early 1990s, the building needed major renovations, and in order to cut costs, Canada Post decided to close the facility and move operations to an alternate plant. Real estate developers Bremley Ltd. and Trizec arranged to purchase the building from Canada Post, but due to financial difficulties, ownership was once again returned to Canada Post in 1993. In 1995, it had been decided that the NBA would expand into Canada, and this allowed the Toronto Raptors to purchase the space a year later. The new team needed an arena to play in, so the Canada Post building was chosen to be their new home due to its downtown location and lot size. The building was purchased for $60 million by the Raptors' initial ownership group head, John Bitov. While it was under construction, the Raptors made the Sky Dome their temporary home. Groundbreaking took place in March 1997. However, the building retained the Art Deco facade of the Toronto Postal Delivery Building along Bay Street East and Lakeshore South Boulevard. The original part of the building is protected under the Ontario Heritage Act due to its aesthetic value and significance. The rest of the building was removed in order to make room for the arena. Facade has been seen here as the old building is preserved with an addition behind it. This is a postmodern architectural practice that peaked in the later half of the 20th century. In December 1998, the building's construction was completed, and a year later, events in the 65,000 square foot space began to take place. Arena space is used for the NBA, NHL, arena football, lacrosse, concerts, family shows, skating events, corporate trade shows, circuses, and various private functions. Additionally, the Scotiabank Arena is the entity in which houses the 2019 championship banner. At this point in the tour, feel free to take an Instagram picture with this beautiful architectural backdrop while continuing to hear about Toronto's beloved Raptors. The Toronto Raptors are the only Canadian basketball team who happens to be a member of the NBA, National Basketball Association. They play in the Eastern Conference and have made significant history since 1995. Like most expansion teams, the Raptors struggled in their early years, but after drafting Vince Carter in 1998, the team made the NBA playoffs 3 times between the years 2000 and 2002. Carter was instrumental in leading the team to their first playoff series win in 2001, where they advanced to the Eastern Conference semifinals. In the later 2 seasons, they did not do as well, and that ended the Carter era in 2004. He was a notable player due to the fact that he became the first Raptor to appear in and start an NBA All-Star game. He even managed to acquire the second most fan votes in NBA history up until that point. Transitioning from Carter to Bosh, the years 2004 to 2008 focused on the rise of a new star and rebuilding the team. With Chris Bosh continuing to lead the way for Toronto, the Raptors made the Eastern Conference Finals again in 2007-08. Similarly, in the 2013-14 season, DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry carried the team, but as seen in the past, did not make it. In July 2018, the Raptors traded DeRozan for star forward Kawhi Leonard and guard Danny Green. Great light was projected on Kawhi as he won an NBA championship in the past and was voted Best Defensive Player. In 2019, the Raptors won their first Eastern Conference title and advanced to the NBA Finals, where they won the NBA championship.
Once you reach Raptors Way, make a right on that street and stand beneath the glass pedestrian bridge. Here you will discover how Maple Leaf Square, a multi-use complex and public square located at 15 York Street, transforms into hyper-energetic Jurassic Park. This square is located at Gate 3 of the Scotiabank Arena, and surrounding its perimeter is statues, sculptures, and real sports, which is a fan store and a restaurant.
Maple Leaf Square is named after MLSE, Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, which happens to own both the Toronto Maple Leafs and Raptors. During the 2014 NBA season, the square was nicknamed Jurassic Park by fans to honor the basketball team. This public square has a capacity of 5,000 people, which hosts pre-game gatherings and other sport-related events. The northwest wall of the arena underwent renovations that included an atrium and a 50 by 80 foot video screen that overlooked the plaza. During the 2018-19 NBA season, the square gained great popularity and caused extreme chaos in the city. It was so popular that the fans would line up days beforehand to view the final games at this location. Besides nicknaming the square Jurassic Park, in 2019, Blue Jays Way was renamed to Raptors Way in honor of their big. Just ahead on the right of Scotiabank's external space is where the installation of the Leafs Legend Row is located. These bronze statues honor the team's greatest players. Ahead of that, the Searchlight, Starlight, Spotlight sculpture by John McEwen is placed. From afar, these three steel tubes look like drunken trees. However, each post has hundreds of cutout stars that decrease in size upwards. This sculpture signifies the connection between the stars in the heaven and the stars inside the arena. It also reflects on the role that professional athletes play in our society.
We hope you enjoyed the brief history and highlights of the Scotiabank Arena and its importance to our city's sports teams and more. Next, we will be heading to the Rogers Centre, another major building that is of great importance to the city of Toronto. Head northwest on Raptors Way towards York Street and continue straight on Bremner Boulevard. Once you have arrived at the Rogers Centre, wait a moment. Rogers Centre, formerly known as Sky Dome, is a multi-purpose stadium located at the heart of Toronto, next to one of the most famous towers in the world, the CN Tower. The stadium is well known to Torontonians as the home to the Blue Jays baseball team. This tour stop will be narrated by Provis.
Originally named Skydome, the Rogers Centre is a multi-purpose stadium in downtown Toronto. Opened in 1989 on the former railway lands, it was previously the stadium home to the Toronto Argonauts of the Canadian Football League, or CFL, and the Toronto Raptors of the National Baseball Association, or NBA, but now the home of the Blue Jays. It was renamed the Rogers Centre in 2005, and it was designed by architect Rod Robbie and structural engineer Michael Allen. The idea of the Sky Dome was initiated when the 70th Grey Cup for the Canadian Football League was renamed the Rainbow. What happened was that the Toronto Argonauts were playing for the Grey Cup in the Exhibition Centre in 1982. The game was played on a rainy day, which led to crowds drenched and washrooms overflowing. In attendance that day was the Premier of Ontario at the time, Bill Davis. The day after, in a rally, thousands of fans chanted, "We want a dome," over and over, obviously expressing their concerns with the Exhibition Centre the night before. 7 months later, Bill Davis announced a 3-person committee that would look into the feasibility of building a domed stadium. Some sites for the dome would be the Exhibition Place, Downsview Airport, and even York University. The final decided site was a slot right beside the CN Tower, which provides a spectacular view when the dome is open. The stadium had many fallouts in the decades to come, where upfront construction and maintenance costs would be higher than expected. In November 2004, Rogers Communication, a parent company of the Blue Jays, bought out the Sky Dome. Ted Rogers, the president and CEO of Rogers Communications, contracted to change the name of the Sky Dome to the Rogers Centre. A statue of Ted Rogers can be found in front of the Gate 6 entrance and provides small tidbits of information. After the purchase, Rogers Communications invested into the stadium by completing many renovations. Every few years, the Rogers Centre receives improvements to itself, which keeps the stadium new and refreshing every visit. For example, in 2017 alone, a major renovation project was put into place to inject another $250 to $400 million into the stadium. Some of these improvements include placing the seats and overall enhancements of the concourse. Take a walk around, as there is much to see. The Toronto Blue Jays were founded in 1977 and are a professional baseball team that has won 6 East Division titles, 2 AL pennants, and 2 World Series titles. At the moment, their home stadium is the Rogers Center. In their first ever game, they drew over 45,000 fans on a freezing April 7, 1977. While they accrued a lot of fans, their performance were less than spectacular, as their first 5 years, 1977 to 1981, the Toronto Blue Jays finished last in the East Division while still drawing in packed stadiums. In 1983, the team celebrated its first winning season, as in they won more games than they lost, leading to an 11 consecutive winning season for the Jays and an all-time high in 1985, where they placed first in the East Division, and even higher in 1992 and 93, where they won the Major League Baseball's World Series. In that decade or so, they broke the 14-year stalemate of single-streak winners by becoming the first team since the New York Yankees to get back-to-back World Series championships. They would fall back into a slump for 2 decades, however, in the years of 1994 to 2014, where they would place last once again in the East Division in 1995, a kickstart to their losing streak. This would only be 2 years after their amazing consecutive World Series wins. Just 5 years ago, on 2014, the Blue Jays saw another uprising where they placed third in the division and continued to win their East Division on 2015 and have winning seasons in 2016 and 2017. For the past 2 years, however, they once again fell into a slump, having losing seasons in both years. On the bright side, their valuation according to Forbes and their fan base continues to grow, so if you're a Blue Jays fan, you can be sure that they are not leaving anytime soon.
Now that you have completed the Rogers Center tour stop, you may want to rest. Take some time to enjoy the views around you and maybe have a bite at the Rec Room Eats and Entertainment. The Rec Room is a space for kids and adults of all ages. Kids can enjoy nearly 100 arcade games, and adults can enjoy the billiards, full-size stage where performances take place, and a projector that plays sports games when there are no other performances. The 40,000 square foot space is actually housed in Toronto's Heritage Roundhouse, where they used to repair train cars. Great lengths have been taken to preserve the historical integrity of the industrial skeleton of the space. Inside the Rec Room is also a restaurant named 310 after Canada's 10 provinces and 3 territories, and it serves a menu of pub faves. This is a great historical multi-use building that people gather in during or after a sports game to enjoy food, drinks, and entertainment. Now that you are well rested, our next stop is the BMO Field. In order to get to the field, walk on Reese Street towards Queens Quay West. Once you are at the intersection, take the 509 TTC bus to the exhibition loop. The ride is approximately 20 minutes long, so sit tight and enjoy the scenery on the way there. Once you get to the exhibition loop stop, walk on Manitoba Drive towards Nova Scotia Avenue. Turn left on Nova Scotia Avenue and straight ahead you will spot the BMO Field. When you arrive at the field, wait there for a moment. Welcome to the BMO Field, formerly known as the Exhibition Stadium. This field is home to the Toronto FC soccer team and the Toronto Argonauts football team. During the stop, you will listen to 3 speakers, Wayne, Miranda, and myself, discussing the significance of the BMO Field, the Toronto Argonauts, and the Toronto FC teams. Both of these teams are well known to the city and their accomplishments are celebrated by their fans. So please, as you are observing the site of the BMO Field, enjoy the scenery and listen to the brief history provided by my colleagues and I.
The initial name of BMO Field was Exhibition Stadium, which was the home field of the Canadian Football League, Blue Jays and the Toronto Argonauts. In 1989, since the Rogers Center was built, it lost the premier attendance, so the exhibition stadium was demolished in 1999. In July 2003, the Canadian Soccer Association planned to build a 13,000-seat stadium for the host of FIFA U20 World Cup. Canadian Soccer Association and Maple Leaf Sport and Entertainment Council to built a stadium at the University of Toronto or York University. However, MLSE was later withdrawn due to poor projectors. In 2005, CSA and MLSE agreed with building a new stadium at the location of the exhibition place named National Stadium. In 2007, BMO purchased the naming right of the stadium. Despite this, the stadium was still called National Stadium when it held in FIFA-approved competition. In 2010, the stadium entailed the natural grass pitch and heating system to grow in cooler spring and autumn. In 2014, BMO invested to add a roof above the outdoor tournament, 8,400 seats, and updated club and suite. Even it's a rainy day, most of fans can keep warm and dry. In the next year, Toronto Argonauts were moving in. The BMO Field is located at a place with a convenient transportation. People can choose the TTC bus, GO train station, and a streetcar to arrive there. Moreover, BMO Field is the first soccer-specific stadium in Canada and is a home to Canada's national soccer team, the Toronto Argonauts and the Toronto FC, Canada's first major league soccer team. Since 2007, the BMO Field welcomed over 1 million fans and hosted lots of events, which include the 2016 Grey Cup, MLS Cup in 2016, the 2014 FIFA U20 Women's World Cup, and the International Rugby and Lacrosse Games.
15-yard penalty. Rainey, though, might take the return. He might take it all the way. What a block he just got. Say goodbye.
Toronto Argonauts are a professional Canadian football team competing in the East Division of Canadian Football League based in Toronto. As one of the teams can represent Toronto's spirit, Toronto Argonauts has been rooted in the city for almost 150 years. It claims to be the oldest existing professional sports team in North America. From the Argonaut Rolling Club in 1873 to Toronto Argonaut Football Club in 2019, this team experienced depressions and highlight moments. Since the CFL left their youth become a professional sports league in 1958, Toronto Argonauts was in a downside for a long time. Although the record of Argos is not attractive enough this year, but Argonauts is a team that has won the most Grey Cups since 1909 in the league. Argonauts changed the home field for several times. In 2016, by the ownership change and the past home field, Rogers Centre changed the infield turf, making it not fit for football games. Argonauts welcomed their new home field, the BMO Field. Since the team founded in 1873, the name Argonauts has been in continuous use, which is a record in North American professional sports teams. The name Argonauts originates from the Greek mythology. According to a legend, Jason and Argonauts are a group of heroes who set out to find the Golden Fleece aboard the ship Argo, sometimes before the Trojan War. Given its nautical theme, the name Argonauts was adopted by a group of amateur rollers in Toronto in 1972. The Argonaut Rolling Club, which still exists today, went on to found the football club with the same name a year later, given their roots in a rolling sport. The team is often referred to as the Boatmen. The representative colors also connected with rolling. The famous rolling teams over the world are the University of Oxford and University of Cambridge. Many members in Argonauts have English school background, so they adopted the light blue from Cambridge and the dark blue from Oxford as a team and the uniform colors. Since then, the double blue became the color of Toronto Argonauts. The current Hamlet design features an Oxford blue background, with an Oxford blue and Cambridge blue round shield inscribed with a white capital letter A. For most of the team history, the logo featured some form of a boat, often incorporating a football. 1914. It is worth remembering for Toronto Argos and the world. In this year, Argos lifted the trophy for the first time. and the World War I was started. The boatmen scored 47 points and 145 points against Ottawa with a 5-1-0 record. Since both Toronto and Hamilton had the same record of winning or losing, they participated in the competition, but the game ended in 9-9 and was recorded due to darkness. In the second game, Toronto won a decisive victory and then continued to beat U of T 14-2 to win the Grey Cup. Ford is back as Argonauts head coach, and Jack O'Connor is the king. He won the scoring title with a record 44 points, including 21 points against Montreal in the last season. "2012, a remarkable year. After a long gap in the final of Grey Cup, Argos finally returned to the stage. Scott Milanovic was entering his first season as a head coach after coming to Toronto from Montreal's staff, and QB Ricky Ray was preparing to play for the Argos after 10 seasons with Eskimos. The infusion of new blood made the team revived, and new records was created in the season. The final of this year is the first time the Argos had played in the Grey Cup game at home since 1982, and the first time the Argos won the Grey Cup at home since 1952. This game saw the Double Blue develop an early lead and never look back, securing their place in Double Blue history with a 35-22 win. Now, Michael Pinball, which is one of the stars from the old days, replaced Jane Popp as the Argos general manager on October 8th. Pinball became the 20th GM in club history. As one of the stars in the team, Pinball will continue the legendary of Argos. If you want to experience one delightful football game with Toronto Argos, you can find a flexible ticket package and membership on the website. For CFL, it's a 21-week regular season. Each team plays 18 games with 3 bye weeks, which usually started from mid-June to early November. There will be 6 teams compete in the legal 3-week divisional playoffs, which culminate in the Grey Cup championship game in the late November. The 107th Grey Cup will be played at November 24th. So let's give our best wishes to Toronto Argonauts. Football in Toronto is not as influential as basketball or the Canadian traditional sport hockey, but it's not to be neglected. Long history of this Canadian football team makes him rooted in the city. Children might start supporting the team affected by their parents, or maybe become player in the school, or even become a professional player. Fans of Canadian football teams are loyal, but the recession of this sport is a common problem for all the Canadian football teams. How to attract more audience, make the younger generation join, and survive from the competition is severe.
Toronto Football Club is a professional soccer club based in Toronto that competes in the MLS Major League Soccer as a member of the Eastern Conference. TFC joined MLS in 2007 as an expansion team and was the first Canadian-based franchise in the league. The team was founded in 2005 and plays its home matches at the BMO Field, the 8th largest stadium in Canada by seated capacity. The name of the team, Toronto FC, was chosen through a majority vote by the public. MLSE believed that the name of the team should be chosen by the public to help the new club earn a more organic nickname from the Toronto fans rather than having one imposed upon them. The public were invited to vote on the name of the team through an online consultation within a limited period of time. They were given a few options, and the highest vote was for the simple name the club is known for now, which is Toronto FC. Just as many other teams, such as Toronto Raptors, TFC's home colors are red and their away colors are white. It has always been a great experience to attend home TFC games at the BMO field. The bright overhead lights and the fans chanting for the team, it really is an unforgettable experience.